Hey team, I wanted to put another quick video together to show you guys how to access another file that I think would be beneficial for you as you're building your business. This is something that I've been wanting to get out to you guys for a little while, but just haven't really had a means to do that. Now that I've been able to figure out how to put these tutorial videos together, so to speak, I think that it's a good time for me to get this out to the team. What I'm going to share with you guys is a file that I've created over the years to track all of my prospects. Hopefully you guys already have some system in place to professionally track your prospects. I've worked in a few different sales jobs, and every sales job that I've had, there's been some sort of customer retention, customer management service that has been that's been a part of qualifying customers, a part of tracking customers, a part of following up with those customers to make sure that we are staying on top of each individual customer that we have access to. So our business is no different. We're not looking to sell or recruit people, but we do need to make sure that we are being professionals and organized with our work. One of the worst feelings, and I know some of you guys have experienced this, is going out and doing the work, overcoming your fears, getting a contact, and then because you didn't properly document that contact, you lost the number, maybe you lost the name, you forgot who it was, and all the work that you put into getting that contact is now completely lost. So this is a file that I've put together over the years. I think it's really helpful. I will tell you, as an upline, as a coach, this is something that would be huge to be able to look at as you're sitting down with your upline, to be able to lay this out for them and say, hey, look, this is exactly what I have going on in my business in terms of personal activity goes. What do I need to change? What kind of adjustments do I need to make? This is a tool that would help your upline very accurately pinpoint if there's any discrepancies in what you're doing, the work that you're doing, and the process that we're taking prospects through. So I've included this file in the shared folder. So I've got my personal Google Drive up here so you can see what it would look like, probably similar to how you would access this file. So again, all of you should have access to the Secret Team Share folder. You would click on this Shared with Me. You'd come in and find where that folder is. So the Secret Team Shared folder right here. Again, if you don't have access to that folder, just send me a message or text or email, and I can add you to that folder. So once you're in here, you've got a few different folders. This file is going to be in the Supporting Documents folder, and this is it right here, this blank running contacts. I labeled it version 1.0, and then I put the little parentheses here just to give people instructions on how to actually add this to your drive so that you can access this. Again, these little silhouettes of these people here means that this is a shared file, so we don't want to be editing the shared file. So how you do this is you'd right click and you just click Add to Drive. Again, I've got it listed out up here, so you'd add to drive. Once you do that, then you come up here to actually your drive, so not the shared with me anymore. You go to your drive and you see this is added in here. You still see silhouettes of the people, though that means that it's a shared file. So the next thing we're going to do is create a copy. So we're just going to make a copy. Once we do that, you see the silhouettes are gone, and it shows me as the owner, meaning that this is now my document. This shared or copy that we created, we can go ahead and throw that away. No need for that. So then you can go ahead and rename this whatever you want. Obviously, your name, however you want to. Well, I guess if it's on your drive, you don't even necessarily need your name on it. But running contacts, I would probably keep the version in there, because if there's any updates that come out with this, you'll want to know kind of what version it is that you're running with. So this is the running contacts list. Again, you can label whatever you want. So here's how this looks. This first tab here, this is your stats. This is going to automatically populate in how many new prospects you've added to your list that month, or for whatever time frame you set. However many QIs you've shown, however many of those have come to an info session, how many follow-up meetings have come from those at the info session, and then how many total registrations have come from that as well. One of the things we may be adjusting with this is second info sessions and second follow-ups in that process. I think it would be a good idea for us to track that. For right now, we just have info sessions and then follow-ups and then registration. So this date range will allow you to select which date range you want to include your total. So if you just wanted to look at this 1 month, if you wanted to look at the past 2 months, you would just simply type in the start date of wherever you wanted that range to start from, and the end date of where you want that date range to stop, and that will give you the totals in there. There's nothing in this document yet, so that's why there's nothing populating in there right now. The dashboard is going to automatically pull through just to give you a quick glance of where you're at for that month, any new prospects that you have that are still working, however many people you have QIs booked with, however many people are invited out to an info session, and then how many of those people we have GSMs booked with from that point. So this section over here gives you the ability to set a follow-up call date for a prospect. A lot of times there's you have a prospect, maybe timing just isn't right. They're getting ready to move into a new house that month, and so really it's best to just follow up with them a month down the road. Maybe you have somebody that is just starting a job and says, hey, timing's just not good now. Maybe here in a few months. And I think you really have to use your discernment as to whether or not you want to continue to follow up with certain prospects, because sometimes prospects will say that just because they think that is an answer that you'll accept, and really what they're communicating to you is I'm not looking for anything else. I'm not ambitious, I'm not driven, I'm not looking to do anything outside of what I have going on. I'm very comfortable where I'm at. And when they say, yeah, maybe follow up with me in a few months, that may just be them saying that to get you to go away. So you have to use your discernment, but I do think there are some legitimate times when timing just isn't right for an individual. And this tool here will allow us to set a callback date, forget about that prospect, and then whenever that time comes, it'll pop up here automatically for us. All right, so how does this work? Down here at the tabs, you've got a tab for my hot list. This is what I call, really, it's my prospect list. These are the prospects that I'm going to be currently working, that I am maybe contacts that I've recently made, people that I am still attempting to connect with, that I have not booked a QI with, or I have not filtered them out. The QI tab here, this is pretty self-explanatory. This is anybody that I have a QI booked with. I'm going to put in this tab. Anybody that's invited to an info session is going to go onto this tab. Anybody that has a follow-up meeting booked coming out of the info session, I'm going to go to this tab. And then any registrations will move over to this tab. There's old contacts. This is basically going to be your running database of all of your contacts. I've got contacts that date back literally 6 years on my list here that populate in here, because these are contacts that I've been making for a number of years. That's about when I started electronically tracking a lot of my contacts. And I will tell you, over the 6 years, I haven't always been perfect with it, but I have contacts that date all the way back 6 years to 2010 in here. And so this will just be your running contacts of all your contacts. As you filter them out, they would go in here. All of your contacts or prospects will end up in one of two categories, either the registration spot or the old contacts. Okay, so let me kind of show you how this would work. So go back to the hot list. Let's say that today it is 2/22. Let's say I made a contact. I met Bob, and Bob's number is 817-222-3333. Okay, email address, a lot of times I don't have that initially, but I have been using emails to send calendar invites for meetings more frequently, so I think it's good to have that. Also, you'll have that saved to send out the DYS app if a prospect makes it to that point as well. Location, this just kind of helps you out if they're in Dallas, wherever they're at, you can put in there. And let's say met Bob at gym, married, 2 kids, works in financial planning. Okay, I'm just making stuff up here, but whatever notes you have from your conversation, again, for those of you guys who've been in the mode, you know that you're making multiple contacts a day. It's important that you make notes, because those contacts start to blend together, and you want to have as many notes in there that will remind you of who that prospect is. Okay, so let's just say that was it. Today I made that contact. Let's say tomorrow I come in here, and actually I'm going to, just for simplistic sake here, I am going to actually just copy and paste this down. But let's say this is Bob 1, this is Bob 2, this is Bob 3. I think I can just automatically pull this down. All right, there we go. So this kind of differentiates it. Obviously, these will be different, different notes for each individual contact. The information for each one of these will be different. But let's just say that for this sake, you guys can kind of see how this works. And again, I'm going to actually put in some dates here, kind of run it through so we have some overlap. Sure, that works out. So we got some different dates in there, so you can see it overlap into March. All right, so let's say that Bob number 10 here. Let's say that I book a QI with Bob number 10. So I call Bob, we book a QI. It's very important you understand this. This is how this sheet functions. If you don't do this, then this sheet will not function properly. You cannot cut and paste on this sheet. You have to copy and paste. So if I highlight this row and I come in here and I click cut, you'll notice this error pops up. It gives you these commands. Now I'm on a MacBook. If you're on a PC, it would just be Control-C to copy, Control-X to cut, and Control-V to paste. we're never going to control cut, okay? If you cut, then you're going to mess up the formulas that are within this spreadsheet. So you always want to copy and paste. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here again, make sure I have this row highlighted, and I'm going to hit those commands. Hold down Command for the Mac. It'd be Control for the PC, and hit C. You'll see it kind of highlights that. That means that it has copied that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to this QI page now, and I'm going to Control V or Command V and paste Bob number 10 in there. Say I've booked this QI, well, being that it was on 3/4 that I contacted him. Let's say that I've got this QI booked for 3/6. Okay, 3/6/17. Now, I'm going to come back to my hot list because Bob 10 is still in here. All I'm going to do is again is simply highlight this and then click delete to remove him from that. So you have to copy and paste it, and then you have to go back and delete it from the original cell that they were in. If you don't do that, you'll start having these prospects pop up in multiple rows. So let's say that, just to kind of show you how this would play out, let's say this Bob, I did the same thing over here. Say I booked a QI with him on 3/10. Let's say Bob number, and again I'm going to delete Bob 9. Let's come up here, let's say Bob number 0, or just the original Bob, the OG. Let's say that I booked a QI with him, and that was a little bit earlier, so this would have been on 2, say 24/17. Again, I'm going to come back here and delete Bob. As you do this, if you are kind of OC with this, or OCD, whatever you call it, as I am, you don't want this blank cell up here, this blank row. You can come in here and highlight all these, Control C again, come up here, Control V, it just moves everything up, and then this bottom one, it duplicated that because it copied it in there, you just delete that out. So again, however this plays out, let's say Bob 1 here, let's say that we booked a QI with him, and Bob 1, let's see that QI was on 2/27/17, and I'm going to delete Bob 1 out. Let's say Bob 5, put him in here, seems like a sharp guy. So let's say this QI was booked on 3/1/17. Alright, so this is, let's just say this is where I'm at. So I've got, as of right now, I've got 6 more prospects. Maybe these guys I just haven't been able to get a hold of. Maybe I just recently contacted them. I'm waiting the next day to call them. Whatever the case may be. Maybe I've attempted to call them once or twice, but I'm not quite ready to move them off of my list and put them into the old contacts. If there are people on here that don't respond, obviously those people, I'm going to just be moving them straight to the old contacts. Okay. So you'll see what's happening here now with these contacts. Let's say that Bob 1 and Bob 5. Let's say that these guys, I end up booking them into the info session. I'm just going to make up a date here, so this isn't like a actual Tuesday where we would normally have our info sessions. But let's say I've got both of these guys booked into the info session on 3/5 now. Oops. So I have both these guys booked into the info session on 3/5. Again, they shouldn't be on the QI tab anymore, so I'm going to Control C, copy, paste them over here into the info sessions tab. I'm going to come back here and delete them out. So now again, all I have on here is the guys that I've got QIs booked with. Over here, all I have are the guys that I've got booked into info sessions. We're going to leave in this stuff because we want to track all of this, those dates. That's how the formulas are pulled. The info session, we've got 3/5. Let's say that out of the info session, say Bob 5 is our guy. We got Bob 5 makes it to GSM. We're going to book this GSM for a couple days after the info session for 3/7/17. Okay, so I'm going to come back here again, delete Bob out of the info session. Let's say that this Bob decided that he wasn't interested after the info session, and so came to the info session, but we're going to move him over to the old contacts now because he's a no-go. All right, but Bob 5 came to an info session, so we want to make sure we leave that in there because it's going to track all that. Again, go back to the info session, make sure that we delete him out of there. Come back over here to our QIs. We've got a few more people that, let's just say, just for number's sake here, let's say that this original Bob, the OG, we had a QI booked with him, but after the QI we decided he wasn't somebody we wanted to invite to the info session, so we're going to move him over to the old contacts. Again, we'll delete that Bob out of there. Say out of our hot list, let's say these 3 guys, they just never responded, never got a hold of us, they were scared, didn't call us back, whatever the case may be. So again, you see I'm not going to put anything in here. I just have the date that I contacted him, but I never showed a QI to them. Bob, the OG Bob, I did show QI to, but he never came to an info session. Then Bob 1 came to an info session, but he got filtered out, right? So I'm going to come back here, delete these guys out of here. I'm going to move these ones up just to keep this clean. You don't have to do that, but I'm just going to do this to keep it clean. All right, so now this is kind of what we're looking at. Let's say that this is maybe 1 week after using this sheet. You've got your hot list. These are the 3 Bobs that you're still working. You've got a couple QIs that are still booked. You've got nobody at this point invited out to the next info session because maybe you just had one, and remember, one was a no-go. One came to this Bob 5 we scheduled GSM with, and let's just say, actually for numbers' sake here, let's go back to my hot list. Let's say Bob 4. Let's say that we did take him through the whole process. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump him over to this registration page. Again, I'm just doing this so you can see what this looks like. So let's just say 227. He sped through the process here. This obviously would not be realistic. Again, I'm just doing this so you guys can see the dates here, how it all populates. And let's say we get Bob number 4 registered on March 2nd. Okay? All right, so this is, we've got somebody now that's in one step of this entire process. So I'm going to go back to this dashboard tab here. You're going to see this is, I think this is pretty cool. So again, this shows your new prospects. These are your hot list prospects. Automatically, this is just going to show their name in there, but just so at a quick glance you can see where you've got people in the filtering process in terms of your personal business. So you can see Bob 234, that's who is in your personal prospects. That is what is populating over here on the dashboard. As far as the QI goes, if I go to QI, you should see Bob 10 and Bob 9. There you go, Bob 10 and Bob 9. If I were to add somebody else in here, let's just say Steve, you'll see that will automatically populate over here. Steve will show up on the dashboard. Info sessions, again, nobody in here. That's why there's nobody showing in the info session. And then the GSM meeting, we've got Bob number 5. Bob number 5 is over here on the GSM meeting. All right. So pretty cool. Let's say these old contacts, just to show you how this works. This is your callback date, and here, and this for some reason deleted out of here. But this is your callback date. Let's say that I wanted to call him back on 4/1/17, and let's say this one I wanted to call back on 3/1/17. Okay, so Bob, OG Bob, I'm calling back on 4/1. So if I come back to the dashboard, you'll see this has got all the way back to 9/10. Obviously, you guys wouldn't need to start back that far, because unless you've got you already have some way that you're tracking it, you want to dump that data into here, then you could obviously go back to that. But this is going through 2/28. I don't have anybody set to call back for those dates, right? Because I've got a 4/1 and a 3/1 callback date. So let's change this now to 3/1/17. You should see Bob 6 pop up in there. It gives you all Bob 6's information. If I extended this out to 4/1/17, you should see both of those Bobs now populate in there for your callback dates. Okay, this is all a bunch of stuff up there that you don't need to worry about. Don't mess with any of those formulas, or else none of this stuff is gonna work for you. So anyway, so that's how that function works. Again, you can set those callback dates for whatever you want. You can see the total number of follow-up calls. I think this is a cool tool to use. You know, you may start out a month and have, even if it's just 3 or 4 people that you maybe contacted 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 a year ago. You could have people that, if you set, and again, professionally track these prospects, if you had a good relationship with them, good connection, just again, timing wasn't right, those might be prospects that you can reach back out to. I've actually had this happen a number of times where I ended up booking QIs with people because they were, the timing was just better then. So that's how that function works. So that is pretty much it when it comes to the functionality of the sheet. The biggest thing to remember is that you have to copy and paste the data. You cannot cut and paste, or else it's going to mess up the formulas. Now, if we go back to the stats, I think this is something that's really cool and helpful for you to utilize. So this is showing our date range. Again, we didn't have anybody that we contacted even after or before February 1st. So let's just put February 1st as a start date in there. Let's say February 28th. In fact, I'm going to extend this out to, let's say, 3/15. I don't think we contacted anybody after that. So you can see now it includes all of the March contacts that I made. If I wanted to look at just the March contacts, I could put in 3/1/17. So what this shows, obviously these numbers are just made up numbers. So the ratios here are not going to be probably accurate to what you're going to experience. But it still shows you, just in a quick glance, you can see, okay, I made 4 contacts in March. 3 of those contacts ended up showing a QI2. 2 of those that came to an info session. 2 of those that came to an info session I did a follow-up meeting with, and 1 of those got registered. That would be really good numbers. But needless to say, this is a very good tool because if you say, let's say you've made 100 contacts, you added 100 new names to your list, but you only have 5 QI shown. Well, obviously there's a gap there. There's something that's going on with your contact. As an upline, we can look at that and say, okay, let's make sure that we're making best use of our work here. There's a gap. Let's identify this. Let's try to figure out. There's obviously a gap between your contact and the QI. Maybe that ratio is good, but maybe you had 10 guests, or you showed 10 plans that month, and you only had 1 guest that came to an info session. Okay, well, there's something about your QI, the way we're setting that up, maybe the way that we're showing the QI, that there's something off there. Maybe we had 10 guests at an info session, but only 1 follow-up booked. Well, it means you're probably selling people into the info session. You probably don't truly understand the QI philosophy, and you're selling your prospects into the info session. You may have had, let's say, 10 follow-up meetings, and you only got 1 person registered. Okay, that's not good ratio. That means there's probably something off with how we're taking people through that follow-up process. So, anyways, this in a very quick glance can help you understand if there's any gaps in your game. But also, when you sit down with your coach, your mentor, you can sit down and say, hey, listen, this is what I've got going on. This is the results that I've gotten. Where can I get better? Here's what I'll tell you from my personal experience. When I really started tracking my information like this, it became very revealing. What I couldn't you can't lie about the numbers. The numbers are what they are, right? So when I was frustrated about results that I wasn't getting, and I started tracking my data, I started realizing I had no right to get frustrated with the lack of results from the lack of work that I was doing. So this is a tool hopefully that'll help you guys stay organized with your information, stay organized with your prospects, and also be a tool that will help you become more professional at what you do, and it'll help you put you in a position so you can be better coached by your upline. So if you guys have any questions about this, feel free to give me a call. Again, that is included in the shared folder on the Google Drive. If you have any questions on how to get it downloaded or how to use it, please let me know. If there's any updates that come out on this, I will let you know about it. But that is it. Over and out.